Okay, we're trying this again. See if this works. Yeah. Boop, 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 boop. So, I'm just seeing if this works. Because I was chatting away and then signal disappeared. And here it is, sunny day. I'm in the parking lot, living in my car. Self-sufficiency, you know. And here to serve as an example for you to get out there in life. You know, Donald Trump's not going to change your life. You know, JoJo ain't going to change your life. Kamala ain't going to change your life. You know, Bernie ain't going to change your life. You know, none of the representatives of the corporate structure is going to change your life. You know, you have to change your life yourself, right? And I had to drive 40 miles here to this Oma. You know, it's like Wi-Fi is like this balloon that's just floating away. You know. So my bro said, you know, well, you should do something. You should go volunteer and be Santa Claus. Well, you know, and nobody wants Santa. You know, people aren't going to go visit their family for Thanksgiving, let alone wait online to see me as Santa Claus. What I did do was there are a lot of folk in these parts of the mountains that are vets, and pretty much they're all screwed, right? And they've all you know, gave the ultimate sacrifice for the country, and they just got crapped on, right? And as I was saying, back in the day, in the early mid '60s, when I was involved in the anti-war movement, it was a joke, you know, and because no one was really there for the vet, right? And today, everyone says, "Oh yeah, we really love the vets." What do they do? But around here, they're losing their homes. They're addicted to OxyContin. So I have a friend who is he's an interesting guy. There is a gated community that's pretty much all these people who are colonel and above, and they had, as my mom would say, a very important job. And but they did not. They were like Schneebly Butler, most decorated guy in World War One. He wrote a book called "War is a Racket," and he basically said that for the 30 years that he was in the military, he was just a thug for Wall Street, right? And so go read his book, War is a Racket. He wrote it in the 20s. And then the rich guys, because he was so popular, I mean, no one's ever heard of him, right? But back in the day, he was very popular, and the rich guys wanted to, have a coup and basically have a fascist oligarchy. And when you go read the works of all the European fascists, especially Benito Mussolini, because he invented that term. I mean, he didn't. The Romans, the fasci was this, little tomahawk surrounded by reeds of wool, of the stuff you make bread out of, and bread in the circus. That's what it was about. And so basically, the rich in America. So you read all this stuff, the National Socialist Party, scholars, and Benito Mussolini, and his whole thing is his PhD thesis on fascism. This is the way we need to run our governments. This will serve the people best. And they basically all said, "Look at America. Look how it's doing. It's really great. It's killing all the Indians. It's doing this. It's doing that. It's serving capital." So, and that's what fascism is. It's a capitalist state. And we don't have capitalism in the United States. What we have is socialism, and it's not like Bernie socialism or anybody else. We have corporate look who gets all the money. When the banks and everybody threw the U.S. into the ditch economically in '08, who got all the money? Who got free money? Free, FREE. It was, the Federal Reserve gave the, quantitative easing free money to the corporations to buy back their stock, which used to be against the law. But Bill Clinton made it, hey, we got to get, decontrol our economic system. Yeah, baby. And so it's right in front of us. USA, USA, USA. This is this is the power, right? I'm the Federal Reserve. I'm the political. I'm the great and powerful Oz. Anyway, so back during World War II, at the end of war, about 89% of Americans back in the home were eating out of their gardens, right? And we were recycling almost 95% of everything, paper, metal, right? And the minute, and we spent whatever money we spent was on mass transit. We had one of the best mass transit systems in the world. We had the best, plus, nobody was dropping bombs on us. But Firestone and all the oil companies and the car manufacturers all bought up the public mass transit and ripped it out of the ground. When I moved into Asheville, North Carolina, in '91, I started looking around and seeing what was going on because I was brought there to do ethnography on the Biltmore House, and I just went deeper in because they documented everything, photographs of everything. I just kept looking, digging, and realized that Asheville was like, oh, look, it's a microcosm of America. And virtually every place I have lived has been Roanoke, Virginia, Tennessee, Florida. They're all microcosms of America. You can see what's going on. You can see it clearly, right? And so it's all, they can't lie about it. They can't kid about it. So what do? They gave us Donald Trump, and then his foil is Biden, who's been, what I love about Donnie is he lies so much he tells the truth. So he's going on and on and on about, how, no one thought, he got 70 million votes. That's an amazing thing. So he's got a fan base. So what he is doing is, his ego can't have him lose. So he's going to put up the good fight and then blame the deep state for stealing this from him. And say, so deep, even everyone said, they proved that I was lying, but they're lying, and that's what Leconte said. He was the French Freud, Leconte basically said, whenever you say, you know what your problem is, whenever, and here's Leconte saying it, you know what your problem is? It's your problem. And whenever this guy is saying, it's your problem, he's talking, or it's talking about you in a way that he's really showing him or it, right? So that's our political structure. Blames everybody because they're to blame, right? And it's all about separation, keep it divide and conquer. Why we have all these little different groups. Let's see. Divine Fish, hey baby, how you doing? Hola, bonjour, hola. Okay. And I love you too, Fish. And so here we are. And every now and then it kind of pops up. So I got time on my hand, and I went to the thrift store. And the only thing I try and I go in there and say, what do I need? Oh, look at this, an orange juice squeezer. So I got an electric orange juice squeezer for $2. You could not beat it, right? And because I get oranges, so and it's really, fresh squeezed orange juice, can't beat it. But the other thing I buy there are books. And there was this large print dictionary, thesaurus, story of everything you need to know in one book, right? So that was, I got that, and it was for 50 cents. It was 3,000 pages long, it weighed 12 pounds, and it was 50 cents. And the section that I really liked was the Constitution and American history. And the Constitution was there, and it described it and who did what and who wrote what and who said what. And they had a lot of letters in there. And I need to get myself a magnifying glass because it's really small print, even for 3,000 pages. And it had every president that there was, right? And what they did, right? And virtually every president was a warrior, whether it was like killing the Indians or the Mexican War, basically Texas, Nevada, Wyoming, California, Washington, Oregon were all part of Mexico. And we just took it, our manifest destiny. We just freaking took it. We had no, it was a separate, in Mexico was a valid country way before us. And we took all that, pretty much everything from the Mississippi West was either French and we bought the French part for pennies, and we bought Alaska for pennies. And, the people who were living there, nobody asked them, and so Napoleon needed money. So did Russia. And they took, chump change for it. And Mexico, we just, because they couldn't, go against our military. Then there was the Spanish American War where we moved into the Pacific. We took over pretty much. That's why the Japanese attacked us, because we went onto their doorstep and was telling them what to do. No, you can't do this, can't do that. We're going to stop you from getting oil and minerals. And because, Japan has a very motivated population and very intelligent population, but has no real resources. So, they were doing, trying to become a world power. I mean, World War I, Japan basically had Russia, the Tsarist Russia, had one of the largest navies in Europe, and Japan took them out. So, anyway, this one book had all of it. Plus, it had all the math you needed to know. It had trigonometry, algebra. Algebra is really the more interesting math because it deals with the here and now. Trigonometry is kind of the math of, we think it's kind of this way, so we're going to invent this. The only real math that truly, truly is geometry. Euclid. Go read. And so they had all the Greeks in there too. And all the Greek scientists and philosophers and poets, they were all the same thing. All those guys were poets and philosophers and scientists. That's how they could see a great view of the universe, So anyway, every so many thousand years, all of this percolates and bubbles up, and it's always right in front of us. It's not like we can't see this stuff. It's right there. But every now and then, it really shows itself. And that's where we are right now. And so that's why we need to be on the street, right? And we need to go to the police and the military and say, brothers and sisters, because, in my organizing, that was what I did best. I went to the people who had the guns, the police and the military, and said, hey, you're the first to die. You're the guys who are going to leave your family without anybody. I've seen it. I worked as a BA. I've seen I've seen Lieutenant Dan, right? And around here, basically, no one could escape the poverty of this neck. This is like living in the inner city. There's no difference between this neck of the woods, between Johnson City and Kingsport and Boone. There's 3 counties. Each county has, somewhere between 19 and 30,000 people. And back in the 60s, each of those counties had between 100,000 and 40,000 people. And the people, if they had anything on the go, they left, right? If not, they got addicted to meth or oxy and died that way. Alcohol, obesity, diabetes, all of the things. And that's why COVID around here is, the smallest county of the three has about 19,000 people. And since February, when they closed public health and the state assistance and social services, right? And now you can only get any kind of information online, and there is no real information, right? And the 800 number is like no one, it's just your call is very important to us, and your wait time is 700,000 hours, So it's pretty obvious what's going on. And so the only way to go, now we had the biggest, outcrop of people voting ever, right? But it was pretty much cut down the difference, right? And JoJo won by, somewhere between 3 and 14,000 votes. 3 votes to 14. Who knows, right? And Downey's right. It was stolen from me. And that's why, like I say, he lies so much that he tells the truth. So, and the largest group of voters to vote were the people who didn't vote, who were like part of the George Carlin school of philosophy, So it's time for you. And the thing is, so I was involved in all these movements, and bottom line, they all fizzled out, except for a few who basically had something really to say. Like the anti-nuclear movement never fizzled out. They actually got what they went there for, right? The Stop Shoreham campaign, stop the Shoreham nuclear power plant on Long Island. God intervened, but they never gave up. And so God said, look at these guys. They're all right. Okay, I'll stop this. And same thing with, the mad rush, under Ronnie Reagan to annihilate the planet. That, we had each Russia, the United States, each had something close to 40,000 deliverable nuclear weapons, right? Now we're down to 3,000 or 4,000. All it would take to kill everyone on Earth would be an exchange of 100 nuclear weapons. Like if Pakistan and China ever unloaded on each other, they would, the radiation, the dust cloud, the nuclear winter, blah, 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 would kill probably 80% of the human race within a year or two, give or take. So the only thing that's going to stop any of this is love's co-creation on the street. And we have to help each other, and not in a, egocentric kind of way or a guilt kind of way. Why do people give the guy on the, when you stop at this stop sign, an intersection, and there's a homeless guy, give me money to eat. People feel guilty, and so they give him, there's a quarter, I'll give him a quarter. I mean, that's me. I try to give more, I try to give, I have a little cup that whenever I have $1 or my change, I put it in that cup. And I try to give, if I, give the guy, if I feel his energy is righteous, at least $1, if not more. Sometimes I pour the whole cup into someone's face, right? So, which brings me to the subject of, hey, there is no spare change. Why is there no spare change? If you look at India, Mr. Modi, right? He one day went on TV on one Friday evening. He went on and said, okay, tomorrow, Saturday, at 10:30 in the morning, your cash, if you have cash, you better get to the bank and put it into an account where our money will be electronic from this point on. And that's what they did. And they capitalized the whole country. And in India, there were a ton of people who did not trust the bank. So they had all their cash in the mattress. And, they were given like 8 hours to turn it in. Not so much. So they were, they got 1 point something billion people, close to 300 million folks went, from being lower middle class to having zip. And pretty much America's looking at that. like I would say, in the next 5 months, give or take. There's going to be a real woo. You think, 20 was a whiplash. 21's going to make this look like nothing, like Happy Days, right? So, what time is it? 11:30. Well, it looks like I kept the signal. Let's see, my service is really bad, but I'm trying. Yes, so all you got to do is try. Baby steps. You can't save the whole freaking world all in one shot. First, yourself. Get your attitude in the right place. Love yourself. Forgive yourself. Forgive people. I'm still that New York driver, and I have, yes, I have diabetes, but I also have hypoglycemia. It's like, what? Because they're on different ends of the ball game. So, anyway. Oh, look at that. So as long as the weather stays the 70 degrees right now, it's like
here's
no, it's 60 degrees right now, but it's going to be in the 60s and upper 50s until December, right? And the coldest is going to be at night is what's going to be 28 degrees one night, but the rest are all in the 40s. It's when it's like 20 degrees during the day and in the teens at night that it's going to be probably. Zero Infinity, CA, there he is. Yes, at USA. So, the real deal is for you to, get straight with yourself, to see what you do, how you do it, what's your neuroses, what's your psychoses, and try to baby step back into loving yourself. Not being nihilistic. That's not loving yourself, right? That's what I was when I was working for Desperate Lawyers and weighed almost 500 pounds. That's a little bit nihilistic, Now I'm down to 210. I'm trying to get down to my high school weight of 180, but 210 is good from almost 500. So, and that's why I'm alive, and that's why, I have no real access to healthcare whatsoever, and yet because I've been very forgive yourself, forgive others. Yep, that's it. You got it. And that's what's enabled me to lose weight and to change my diet. So when I'm, sticking to it, I can keep my blood sugar, between, 95 and 127, right? Eat one piece of bread, have an English muffin, it goes up to 135, right? Have one little Reese cup and one English muffin, it goes up to 150, right? If I eat some more carbohydrates, it goes up to, but if my blood sugar goes below 95, I start to have, diabetic acidosis, meaning my blood pressure drops ridiculously and I feel faint. Let's see, I've had a bout of nihilism and depression. Of course, we live in a psychotic culture. How could you not be nihilist and depressed, Thing is to put yourself in a place where you're not bombarded. I mean, I have no access to, I have to drive 40 miles to do this, right? To look at the internet, right? I'm not looking at the internet, And I do at least once a week because my little laptop, I have to upload into the cloud if I want to keep writing. And it puts it up there. And one day I said I was going to be able to put my legend, my most recent thing. I still haven't been able to figure that out. So, but soon. But legend's kind of up there. It's got at least the first 50 or 60 pages and then another what I call the clipboard of all loose ideas that I'm taking from and writing about. So that's what read books too. I've been reading, a writer reads. So I have a couple of friends who just chew up books, just eat, read. And they got nobody to talk to about, so they give them to me and I'm a pretty quick read. And so I've been, reading a lot. And that's what, if you want to be a writer, you got to read books. You got to read how other people write. Right? Yes, can't we just skip ahead to rebuild? That will be more fun. Exactly. But without this kind of wacko suffering we're going through, we will just repeat the same, because that's what America was based on. That's what we kept doing. Is that's what Civil War. That's what Indian War said. It was let's have a war. Let's kill all these people, take their land. So. Oh, let's have slaves, that help us build our economy. The United States was built by black folk. I had a buddy who worked at the patent library, and he basically, I would go and visit him and just sift through everything, because I was over at Georgetown, being, Dr. Quigley's Padawan, and hanging out with Joseph Campbell, and basically, I saw that pretty much everything from the beginning of the patent library up until 1960, everything was invented by women and black people, because they're the only ones who were working. Innovation, mother of invention. It's so like the McCormick Reaper. When you get a patent, you have drawings, and then you have a description, written out. Look at those patents. You could see that the handwriting was of a woman, well educated. You could read, could write, could, hang a sentence together. And the drawings were obviously done by artisans who were like the black folk, who, like the cotton gin and all those farming equipment that made us who we are. The cotton gin, it wasn't done by some white guys, who looked like, Kentucky Fried Chicken, Colonel Sanders. No, it was the black folk who were getting their hands ripped up by picking cotton, And so that's where we are. We are out there in the fields, and we have to step up, and not in a negative way. We have to work through, and people who, take the envelope and join the club, and become a progressive. I'm so upset. All the words I used to have as a, title, liberal. Forget liberals. Liberals are just, Quigley and another guy who wrote a book called None Dare Call It Conspiracy, Gary Allen. Gary Allen said that left, right, liberal, conservatives, just two wings of the same corporate bird. Stopped our... Yeah. 9/11. So we had to, the tussle, Al Gore and Georgie Porgy, took a month or two to figure out that Georgie won, right? The Supreme Court installed him. Ergo, they didn't have any time to have a viable thing that they're, that JoJo is trying to have right now, get his government together. And so Donny Boy is basically going to try and, waste time as long as he can. I mean, it's only been a week since the election. We have 70 days until the 20th of January. And so he's going to take as much time. And he is also, he got rid of all the people who had been in the Defense Department for the last year, who kept trying to keep him from doing stupid stuff. Now he's put in really, really his, religious followers like, Pol Pot or Jim Jones. And he's also put in a number of people who had jobs, in the like the guy who's now the lawyer for the NSA. He is no longer, a person who was put in by an administration. He is now a guy who is, a person who is allegedly not politically identifiable. He's, what do they call those people who work in government, who, whether it's Democrat or Republican, they're there. Well, he's put in a number of those guys who can't be fired, but they will screw with everything they can, right? And that's what the powers that shouldn't be, who work for the hidden hand, want total chaos, total confusion, so they can have another whatever, and that will enable them to put in a few more, pegs in take the pegs out of the Jingo monster, so it'll all collapse, and we'll have Mike Pence as Donald Sutherland in the Hunger Games. So it's almost 12. I've been talking for about half hour. So what is Fish saying here? Yep, 9/11 stop. Yep. I love puns. Pun away, Miss Divine Fish. So anybody else got something to say? Otherwise, I'm gonna move on. I got things to do, people to see. Okay, it's a beautiful day. I love you. You guys stay well, be good. And everyone, remember, go to xratted.blogspot.com. Remember, don't believe a word I say. Remember to, if you want to talk to me personally, go to the dudeawake42 at Gmail, and my PayPal is there. And those few people who have thrown a few coins my way, thank you very much. I really, really appreciate it. I don't really go on about it. I don't try to turn it into an advertisement, but it's always appreciated, and I thank you. Okay? That's about it. Let's see. Can't we just skip? Yep. Forgive yourself and forgive others. Remember, forgive yourself and forgive others. Okay? So I love you guys. And remember, I'm always there for you. I'm always thinking of you. And I'll catch you on the flip-flop, right? Okay. Okay. And tomorrow's Saturday. I don't know if I'm going to be out and about, but if I do and I find a Wi-Fi, I'll try and go on again. If not, maybe Monday. But, as long as the weather's nice, the last 4 days it rained. I mean, we had unbelievable rain. Luckily, I live on top of a mountain, but the lake was filled up. I mean, they had taken it down by 5 feet, and that 5 feet was filled up in 4 days. That's a lot of rain, I mean, our lake has a 1,200-mile coastline, and it filled that up. That's a lot of rain. So, anyway. Okay, Fish. Love you, buddy. So there's Divine Fish and Fish. That's right. Okay. I don't know if it's the same gang, but anyway, I love you all. You stay well. Be good. There's 7 of you that I'm watching. And I got a pretty good signal. We haven't gotten kicked off. A lot of these Wi-Fis, if you're on there for more than a little bit, like half an hour, they kick you out. So I've kind of said everything I was going to say. But, Divine, Air said it best, forgive yourself. No, who said it? Fish. So, Zero Infinity said, forgive yourself, forgive others. That's like the lesson of today. And the next time I speak again, I think I will, between now and the next time I speak, I'm going to parse on that one a little deeper. Right? So there's both 2 different, right? There's Divine Fish and Fish, right? So, of the Fish family. Okay, guys. I'll see you when I see you soon. Like I said, maybe tomorrow, maybe Monday, whatever, right? Because it looks like it's going to be nice. As long as it's sunny. I can't stand driving in the rain, because I can't see. Okie doke.